Good afternoon. Once again, welcome to EDA Focus on the Virgin Islands Marketplace. I'm Anthony Weeks, your host. This is another edition of a wonderful show that I believe we have in store this afternoon. I do have the generals and the admirals of the Economic Development Authority with us, and I'm looking forward because they recently went on an expedition, if you will, an exploration, seeking out new opportunities, new ideas in terms of how we can attract business to the Virgin Islands. And we're going to get an updated report from the good folks at the EDA. But before I do, let me just remind folks, this evening at 5:30, don't forget the SETI Business Forum that's going to take place at Pier 69. That's at 5:30. And your chairman, Commissioner of Labor, Albert Bryan, will be the guest keynote speaker. And we're going to focus on workforce and workforce development in the territory. So I'm looking forward to that. So, but let me just say, welcome back.
Thank you.
I'm really curious to know how the trip went. You went to Denmark. And let's start off with who went on the trip, the purpose of the trip, and whether or not you felt you achieved your objectives in terms of your trip to Denmark. Who's going to start first?
Well, good afternoon again.
Good afternoon.
It's good to be with you again on the Virgin Islands EDA's Focus on the Marketplace show. And as you said, today is a great day because you've got the CEO co-hosting the show with you today. And
the two titans.
I'm going to just pinch hit with him today as we talk a little bit about what we committed to do with the communities to share in our marketing efforts and the initiatives that we are mandated to do, which is to, as I always tell people, our job at EDA is to market, to attract companies to the territory so that our labor force can in fact be what I call fully employed. And to be fully employed, we have to create an economic development platform and a base that allows for what I like to say sustainability with good companies doing good work, making lots of money, and our people all employed in various phases of the job market. Our recent trip to Denmark, and I almost hate to use the word trip, it was a trade mission or a business mission that we wanted to undertake because as we begin to look at where are the opportunities to market to companies as we position the Virgin Islands as a best place to do business and to do economic development or expand their businesses. So our marketing efforts is a critical component of what EDA must do, and especially for our EDC program, or the Economic Development Commission tax incentive program. So this business mission that recently occurred in Denmark, I found to have been very, very fruitful in many, many ways. And I'm sure our CEO, who is with us, Mr. Clouden, as he speaks to the mandate that the board and the governor has given to us to position the territory as a good place to do business. And of course, joining us today, I'm happy to have Andrew again.
Always good to have Andrew with us.
Always great to have Andrew. And as you know, Tony, Andrew is guiding the marketing, the targeted marketing efforts in and out of our country. And he's done a marvelous job. It was very well packed and tight agenda, which we'll get into in a few minutes. I think, as you know, in sales, when you do what we call upstream selling, it is to position your product, to say to the market, here is a good product or a best service, and we want you to know about it. And as we explore and explain the benefits of the Virgin Islands economic development programs, in this instance our tax incentive program, as we market to these companies and position ourselves, they're learning about us. And one of the things that I think we have to always be mindful as part of this TV show that we do here is to help educate our community on the workings of the EDA. We want the community to understand that when you're marketing and positioning the Virgin Islands as a good place to do business, that it doesn't happen overnight. Very rarely, because as we are dancing with those folks, they're also doing the studying of the music that we're playing. They're doing their homework as well. And so we were very pleased that the work that was involved in getting to this place where we're positioning the Virgin Islands to be known as the best place to do business, that they are also looking at us. They keep looking at what we're offering, what is our climate, how much does it cost to do business, do we have the labor force that they can depend on, And so your tax incentive may be an incentive, a teaser, but at the end of the day, there's so much more in marketing the territory and position ourselves and this product that we have to the folks in Denmark. I must tell you that it was a very, very, very productive trade mission for us. The governor joined us, and I believe the CEO can speak to what the mandate is to the authority from the governor and the board to be sure that we are positioning the Virgin Islands as a good place to do business. And we want to get the word out. So I believe that that particular business mission to Denmark, I think we achieved the mandate. So I don't know, our co-host today is our CEO, as I said earlier. He may want to speak to that specifically.
Let me just ask you, and I can't help but have this thought. I think of Denmark,
Yes.
part of Europe, if you will, the Euro. And the fact that there is a historical relationship between Denmark and the Virgin Islands. Matter of fact, on an annual basis, we get charter flights of Danish tourists coming and visiting us annually. So I would want to think, because of that kindred relationship, that historical relationship, kindred relationship, it probably made it a lot easier for you to go into the door and make your pitch as to why it makes sense to do business. Am I off base, or does that make sense?
No, you're right on point.
Okay.
You're on point. This trip was a long-planned trip with the help of Andrew, of course, and I term it to be a successful trip. It was significantly packed with activities, business activities. We took along with us the tourism commissioner,
Okay.
Doty.
That makes sense.
Yes, and we are fostering a relationship, a collaborative relationship, because the end product for both of us must be the same, or
Yes.
is the same. Bringing business to the territory.
Right.
And we are embarking. There was a meeting this morning, as a matter of fact, with ourselves and tourism, where Mrs. Hill and Andrew explained and showed to the tourism staff our marketing material, so they are familiar with it, and when they go on a mission, they include our material. So it's two birds with one stone. The governor also accompanied us, and we were very happy that he did so. And he does not rest. He works 24/7. We had several activities, one of which included a business activity that engaged 30 to 40 businesses, which later we did our presentation, of course, and later that amount grew to about 75. So I'll leave that to Andrew. He can further explain the details of that. Now, in terms of outcome, I think we did fantastic in terms of anticipated results. We think that we would see some fruit in about 4 new companies come into the territory from that mission. From that mission.
Really?
Yes.
I'm sorry, I said trip, mission.
From that mission. So we are looking at increased employment, increased investment, and more particularly, we want to put our people to work. And that's one of our main missions, to get our people to work.
And I know you're going to kind of come in now, and I think it's a good segue. How important, considering the history between the Virgin Islands and Denmark, and the issue of brand made in the USA. Is that an important factor in terms of companies from Denmark setting up shop in Virgin Islands, and whereas they now have a market within the United States and they can say because they're here, it's made in the US, stamped made in the USA?
Absolutely. That's obviously, there are a couple of things. I mean, you touched upon the cultural ties between the U.S. Virgin Islands and Denmark, and of course we're coming up on the centennial of the handover,
Yeah, huge.
2017.
Absolutely huge one, yeah.
So we went to Denmark with that in mind, and there were a number of discussions about the planning that will occur over the next couple of years for that centennial event to be a very, very big event with strong Danish participation. We received support from the highest levels of the Danish government.
I was wondering.
Various ministers were involved in the meetings, as well as even some royalty.
Nice.
We had the
You went to the palace?
So there's a lot of interest in 2017. So this is something that we wanted to leverage. Obviously, you mentioned the tourism aspect of it. We have known for many, many years that Danish tourists come every winter to visit the U.S. Virgin Islands for more than a week, multiple weeks. That's very good investment here into the territory. However, the business side needed to be explored. So we were leveraging off the cultural ties and the tourism experiences that people had to introduce the concept of doing business here in the territory. We worked, you mentioned, wouldn't the Made in USA label be of importance to them? Absolutely. So we worked directly with a partner, well, multiple partners in Denmark, one of which being the Danish American Business Forum that has over 150 members, all of which are Danish companies in a variety of technology sectors who are interested in doing business in the United States. And so as part of that, our program, our presence there was of interest to their membership, not only to attend the business forum that Mr. Cloud mentioned, but also to have one-to-one meetings to discuss their potential business interests in the territory. So we were able to leverage that relationship with an established Danish-American business organization to build those ties, and we now are continuing to manage those relationships and infuse information about the territory, meet their needs about informational requirements so that they will get to the next step. Next step being, we've met with them in Denmark, now we want them to come and visit here in the territory. Come see, come kick the tires, learn about how we do business here, learn about the opportunities, the advantages of the EDC programs, all those things that they need to learn about. Our team, the VIEDA team, is here to support those companies as and when they will come in. And it's the logical next step for making that investment that Mr. Clouden referred to of those potential 4 companies.
There's a proverbial saying, there's nothing new under the sun. And history often repeats itself. And I just think it's interesting how we're having this conversation where back in 1917, the relationship, it's like 2 family members separating, and now they're trying to find ways to reunite ourselves with them. And I'm just wondering what, outside of the officials in Denmark, and if you had an opportunity to speak to regular Danish folks, what was the temperature, what was the pulse, the idea, even the concept of this, reunion, if you will?
Well, I'll tell you, as a matter of fact, when after we sort of did our formal presentations in one of our forums, which Andrew mentioned, we had, in response to an invitation that the governor had sent in advance through our partners, the Danish American Business Forum, the United States Embassy was incredibly supportive of what we were doing. We went in with the full force of our country behind us, and I am so thankful for that relationship and that acknowledgement, particularly since our business forum was held in the residence of the U.S. Ambassador.
Oh, really?
And they hosted us. It was just really heartwarming that not only is the U.S. Virgin Islands there to seize the opportunity of these familial ties. And I said to Andrew, you better emphasize in everything that we're presenting this week that familial ties. There is an emotional connection on the parts of the Danes to the Virgin Islands. And while, as I said to someone, there was a business leader in one of our forums, and he said, I feel that kindred spirit to the Virgin Islands in ways that I oftentimes feel very emotional about it, and that he thought the timing of our trade mission and this business forum was of such that it is time for us to figure out how do we seize the opportunities that these two countries, ours as the U.S. Virgin Islands and the United States of America, and the Danes wanting to expand opportunities in a place where there is that familial connection. And I think we have to be wise about that opportunity and seize the opportunity from that. I know that someone asked me when we came back and we were sharing the information in one of our local radio station. Someone asked, "How can you? Don't you think about the history behind the relationship?" And my position, in my response to that, and this is simply Jennifer Nugent Hill's position, I'm all about business. And my thought process is, why don't we take the sadness of the historical connections and figure out how do we turn this into a positive.
Absolutely.
And if there are opportunities for Danish companies to come to the Virgin Islands and create that synergy and establish companies that provide opportunities for Virgin Islanders, in my book, that's a darn good thing.
It's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer, and I think, go ahead.
There's always a little bit of emotion in your decision making. It's not all about facts and figures and numbers and so forth. Business people also make decisions based on emotion, and we have a very good cultural tie there to leverage within Denmark. And
Good,
so
very strong culture.
very strong, and we need
to
and we need to seize the moment and leverage that now that we've gone in 2013 and work that all the way up through 2017.
All right.
And this is not a one-off, it's a constant.
Now, obviously, when you think of the logistics in terms of distance
Yes.
between Europe, the Virgin Islands, the Caribbean, and the U.S. mainland, we are the most eastern tip of the United States, St. Croix is. So I would say the argument can be made that, logistically, because we're so centered in the transshipment port channels, makes sense from a manufacturing standpoint to be able to look at industries that are unique to Denmark. How can you expand those industries to the Virgin Islands? Is that something that was part of the thinking going in?
Absolutely. In fact, one of the companies that we're having some specific project discussions about was involved in the maritime business and involved in fuel provisioning, provisioning for cruise ships, and some maintenance activity. Mm-hmm. Caribbean is of strong interest to them. And obviously, the island of St. Croix and its proximity to the shipping lanes going from east to west through the Panama Canal, correct. North to south going down to Brazil. This area is of interest to them. Not to mention the fact that it's part of the U.S. and it has this Danish cultural tie. So that is something that they're going to be looking at going forward. And this is all because of our location.
The Danes are known for their strong investment in the renewable energy sector. And we are grappling and struggling with the high cost of energy. I can only imagine that there is some real keen interest by the Danes to look at that issue and to say, what can we do to, bring some sort of resolution in that?
Yes, the Danes are ahead in terms of renewable energy. It now accounts for 20% of their consumption.
Yes, quite significant.
And they think they have planned by 2050 to be
50,
100%.
2050.
Yes,
Okay.
2050 to be 100% reliant on renewables.
Wow.
So they are ahead, and they're full steam ahead. So we got some ideas from them, one, and two, there is a company, one of the companies is interested in doing business in the VI. So, and we anticipate a positive result from that.
Just the natural element of
Yes.
the sun, wind, and ocean
Yeah.
in abundance.
Right.
That makes sense to be able to look at exploring.
Denmark is a country of many islands.
Yes.
Many of those islands are not connected by a grid. Does this sound familiar?
Yeah, absolutely.
They have worked with the same conditions that we have here in the U.S. Virgin Islands, and have had to create their own self-sustaining renewable energy solutions, island by island by island. And that's what they started this process in the 70s when the first oil shock occurred. And as you can imagine, 30, 40 years later, look at where they are. They're a world leader in many different aspects of renewable energy. And we can benefit from that, not only in terms of technology coming here, but also companies coming and investing and creating jobs.
Europe, as it stands, they're challenged economically in a number of different areas. Denmark, we're not hearing too many headlines about Denmark and their economic situation. Do you sense that as an American territory society, where we tend to first cater to American tourists, American business people, that this might be a sort of a shift, new direction in now looking at the European market in terms of how we can go after the European markets?
Sure. Our program, our EDC program is, and I say it all the time, is second to none. And entrepreneurs, they are interested in the bottom line, and we would provide that opportunity for them. So once and that's the purpose of our having these business trips, to tell the world this great secret that we have. We've been keeping this secret for a long time, too long. So this is now the time for us to get it out there and entice new business from worldwide to come to this territory and set up shop. We have all to gain, and so do they. They have to gain also. We gain through employment, they gain through the financial success.
How do they feel about our infrastructure, specifically where we are the second we have the second largest fiber optic in the world, and the fact that investments are being made to be able to expand and build it out, and the fact that, you know, the world, we're now in a digital world. How do they feel about the fact that St. Croix is so uniquely positioned to become, you know, a Silicon Valley in the Caribbean, dubbed Silicon Island?
Yeah. Well, we talked to a number of companies and specifically in the IT area, and obviously data connections, communications is very, very important. They were intrigued by the EDC programs, as everyone is, but the program alone with very poor connections is not going to help them run their business.
Absolutely.
So they were very excited to hear when we explained about the connection, the VINGN activity that's taking place to wire or create the loops on all three islands, meaning that they could have broadband anywhere that they wish. This is something that was very, very important to them, and they were impressed because they know when they look at other locations in the Caribbean, this is not the case.
Right.
So we are now on another level, if you will, when it comes to talking with IT companies, because we can deliver the connections that they require.
You know, and to piggyback on what Andrew is saying, we continue at EDA to recognize that our EDC tax incentive program is just one aspect of what you can use and position in the territory as a good place to do business. Coupled with that, as Mr. Clouden mentioned earlier, is this awesome community of people that I believe today understands that we must do what we have to attract and retain businesses that allows for our people for our labor force to be retained. And when we finally get to the place where we are completed with our the VI-NGN project, it will have been considered as one of the masterpiece of infrastructure in telecommunication capacity from this little place called the U.S. Virgin Islands. And I think, as Andrew said, bar none in the Caribbean. I like the term that you used earlier, Tony, when you said that we would become known as the Silicon Island. Mm-hmm. You know, when you think about economic development, mm-hmm. in the minds of people, they ask, what is the role of government in economic development, especially when an economy is depressed? Government must step in and do something to create the stimulus that's necessary. The broadband initiative is going to be the game changer for the U.S. Virgin Islands in so many ways.
No question.
Because right. No one else have it.
That's a lethal combination.
It is incredible. Yeah. And so we want to be able to position this product in the Virgin Islands using our economic development incentives, but we also want to be able to have an infrastructure mm-hmm. that is solid, that is modern, that allows for our companies that are coming to the territory that we're inviting, and those that are here as well, to broaden the opportunities for expansion and growth in their own business. All that I'm asking our people in the Virgin Islands to do is for us to think big out of the building. The box is too small and we're all crowded in the box, mm-hmm. and we're not using the resources, I think, adequately. Mm-hmm. And when I say using the resources adequately, if we only begin to understand that the Tier 1 broadband switch that the VI-NGN project is going to do for us in delivering what I call world-class communications. Mm-hmm. The world is digitized. It is digital in everything that they do. Our children are far advanced in the use of the digital gadgets that they have in front of us. Can you imagine business people? So one of the charge that I want to put out there for our community is that our entrepreneurs, I want our entrepreneurs to begin to think about what the VI-NGN or this broadband initiative represents for them in terms of an opportunity. I want to begin to say to our community of incredible entrepreneurs that are here in the Virgin Islands, and I always tell people, the culture of the Virgin Islands is traditionally that of business people. We know how to run business. We know how to do it small, but we also know how to do it big. Now, what I want us to do is to start thinking outside of this building or this island and say, I can still work from home, meaning the territory, but I now need to start exploring the opportunities that this infrastructure development that the government of the Virgin Islands is engaged in. What does it mean? What opportunities there are? So in as much as we've done this business mission and we're approaching the Danish businesses who wish to expand into the Caribbean, and we're saying if you're thinking of the Caribbean, think of the Virgin Islands, we now have to position ourselves to say we've got trained workforce, we've got infrastructure in place, and you've got a team at EDA in partnership and collaboration with other government agencies to make this happen. How do I, as a young entrepreneur, explore the possibilities of what is occurring in our position in the territory through our marketing initiatives? And I'm saying I want people to start thinking outside of the building and say to themselves, how do I create an opportunity for myself? How do I make what I've always wanted to do an idea that transcends this little island, because we're finite, but the world is big and infinite. We can actually explore the possibility. And that's the message we really want to say, because as we do what we do at EDA, in positioning the territory, this product that we have, we also have to be able to create the atmosphere and the opportunity for our folks in the territory, our small entrepreneurs, our entrepreneurs who want to expand and be larger than what they think they can, and say, let me position myself. Who are these energy companies that are interested in coming to the territory? What can I do for them using the infrastructure that we know that is going to be available to us when we're done with the broadband
Can I just
initiative?
Can I add this?
You see, I'm passionate about this, right?
Really?
I can tell you.
I couldn't tell how.
It's normal now. It's normal what's at EDA. We're excited.
Let me just say that one of the things that we will be looking at with Department of Labor this evening with your chairman of the EDA, Commissioner Albert Bryan, is this new culture of telecommuting jobs. And I bring this up because I want to use this opportunity to say to those who are contemplating whether or not what they want to do for a career, what they want to do as a profession, and where there is opportunities. If you will, if a company or companies throughout the United States and around the world are now looking to hire 80 people in the Virgin Islands, where these companies are not physically in the territory, but yet you can work for these companies remotely, 80 jobs, that if a company can do that, what you just said, when you start thinking of business opportunity and what opportunities exist, think outside of the local market. Going into business is not just simply, okay, well, then whether there is a local market for my product or services. Right. The world is your oyster. Look at where there's opportunities, whether it's the neighboring islands, Puerto Rico, BVI, Eastern Caribbean, or getting into the United States, that we need to start looking at opportunities. When we say go into business, it's about looking at products and services where there's a demand for your product and services.
And I'm sure the CEO will jump in here, but I'll give you an example of a recent encounter I had sitting at the airport getting ready to jump on a seaplane to St. Thomas for a meeting. There was this young woman that came up to me, and she walked up to me, and I saw that her face looked familiar. And she said, "You don't remember me?" And I said, "Okay, help me." And she said her name. I won't say her name because obviously I got to protect her privacy. And she said, "I am so and so." And I said, "Oh my goodness." And the typical elderly folks amongst us like me say, "I remember when you were," and she said, "Yes, you did. You knew me when I was 8 years old." And I said, "So what are you doing home?" And she said, "Oh, I came home to see my family for the Easter holidays." And I says, "Yeah, but where are you? What are you doing?" And she said to me, and this is a Crucian child, I know her from she was a child, she's a woman today. She is a software lawyer.
A software lawyer.
So I said, "And what is a software lawyer?" She works for CNN in Atlanta. And she said that her job is she trains other lawyers on the issues of software and, of course, some of the intellectual property issues and so forth and so on. And I'm like, "So where did you learn this job?" People say we can't think about these things from these little islands. She's a Central High School graduate. Yeah, go Cavs. She is an incredible, young, vibrant, full of life young woman, doing an incredible job with a trained legal mind in an area that you ask, I didn't even know there was an occupation known as lawyers, software lawyer. I brought that point up just to say, when I was asking her, so what do you think about some of the things that is occurring in our territory? And she said something so profound to me, that we need to find a way to encourage our people to think of the non-traditional employment in ways that they normally wouldn't think about. Just like what you just said, Tony. Telecommuting, working from home, or doing worldwide work from your home. and making
Or
a living.
anywhere,
or
for that
for
matter.
anywhere for that
Just
matter.
working remotely.
But for those of us who want to stay home, you know, who like to be in the Virgin Islands, and so when she said that, I reminded myself that that's part of what we ought to be doing as we begin to talk about the workforce development, our job creation opportunities, and as we also fix the infrastructure of government that we must fix. We also got to do some things right, which continues to be part of the challenge as we are doing the important work of getting word in the market about the Virgin Islands, but also as we're fixing the delivery of service that we provide as a government to get it right done the first time, as Mr. Clouden likes to say, do it right the first time. So,
Yes, certainly. I think the VINGN project, and there is a new company that's going to come in to do the last mile. And
Orbitel, is that the new company, Orbitel, that's
yes,
going to hire 80, 100
Orbitel,
people?
yes.
Yeah.
That combination is deadly for us, and it's going to
You
put
mean
us.
figuratively speaking?
Yes, it will make us. It will make us so important in the world that we can stay at home, as you said, and do business worldwide in a second.
and get paid well for it.
And get paid well. And I don't think that this population understands and appreciates what this governor has done by bringing in VINGN.
Right.
It's going to put us on the globe.
Well, it's an educational process.
Yes,
Yeah.
and I
Certainly,
think that's it.
and that's what has to happen.
So I think,
what's
Tony,
next step? In
well,
terms
the
of
next step in the Denmark business mission, we have this for us is an ongoing process, as was mentioned earlier. We are following up on those. We had, as Mr. Clouden said, 4 real, genuine responses to the call for the Virgin Islands. I said 6 because I think there were 2 more that we were able to sort of, you know, we're massaging their interest and really developing the message of the community's attributes and why this community's attributes would do well for their business. And that's sales, really. People purchase, you know, you can encourage someone to buy, but at the end of the day, when the customer makes a decision, they're going to be doing it based on certain attributes. What good is this for me to buy this product? So the next step in the process is that we've already issued our first follow-up call from those who have expressed the interest. I mean, I recall one of the places we went, and it was very, very cold, but it was rather interesting. We hop on a train to get to this place, and then we had to go see another client who's really going to be, I think, a game changer should they move their business here. We are expecting and anticipating their first visit, getting to know a little bit more about you, probably next month. We're hoping towards the end of May, May, June, for their first visit to the territory. As I said, it is about them coming to understand the community's attributes. And then we do constant follow-up, which Andrew, you may want to talk to how we do that.
I think you know, obviously we have very specific project needs with those 4, and it's probably even a larger group, closer to 10 companies that we will be exchanging a great deal of information with about the territory specific to the business activity that they're in, whether it's maritime, IT. We talked to a finance company and even a manufacturing company. So each one of those companies has different types of business needs because of the line of business that they're in. So we're gathering information about skill sets, about financing, about real estate locations, logistics, air freight, shipping, obviously the EDC programs. All of those are bits and pieces that folks need to study and understand what the opportunity is here for their business, and then moving on to the next step. But those are the low-hanging fruit. Above that, I would say we had well over 100 business contacts during the week. Right. From the business forum, the receptions, the one-to-one meetings, meeting with the renewable energy companies, various ministries. We met with lots of different business groups. And so all are not immediate projects because, again, this is a very specific investment need. So we have 4 to 10 now, but we've got another 95 plus in the hopper, and those need to be managed. And we need to stay in touch. We need to update them on initiatives like VINGN, like the evolution of the Havenza site, other new initiatives within the territory, because at some point in the future, there will be a trigger point where that company will say, I think it's now time to talk. So, as I said, this isn't a one-off. I mean, when we went to Denmark, we built some relationships. We have some very, very interesting project relationships, but we also want to maintain and drip feed those other companies information about us. Keep reminding them that we're here, the opportunities are here, the infrastructure is developing, and from time or over time, we will get more than that 4 to 6 to 10 companies that we have in terms of hot projects. And we're building a pipeline of investment from Denmark into the USVI.
Well, I mean, I'm really excited about the news that you guys have brought back. As you know, Jennifer, when we think of the timeline in terms of when we want to achieve certain benchmarks, okay? The concept of a Silicon Island, where in 2013, between the completion of the build-out of the infrastructure for the high-speed internet, and marketing the combination of the EDC benefits along with the attraction of the fiber optic, that we envision that Silicon Island will be a reality by 2020. That's the vision, Vision 2020. Do you sense in your conversation with the Danes that within this time frame, that in terms of planning, preparing, and readying the workforce, based on what they're saying, that you see a similar or parallel timeline in achieving that objective?
Say anything about that? No. You know, I always try to bring back the reality check because I believe in truth and lending, truth in advertising. Marketing is what we use to reach our short and long-term goals. So as we're positioning ourselves and positioning the Virgin Islands as a good place, and a good product, it takes preparation to meet the expectations of your potential investors. And so you're saying 2020, you know what, I happen to believe you. 2020 is a good year for the Virgin Islands. And but to get there, we have to be ready.
Some work. We got work to do.
We have to deliver a real viable product. And the product is, this is a competitive environment to do business. You have the infrastructure, the resources of our human resources are ready. So that means the persons watching this show, because a lot of people are telling us that they're watching this VI Focus on the Marketplace.
You think?
Our mandate and the effort of this show is to broaden the knowledge base for their community. So it includes teachers understanding what we're saying about the development strategies and saying to themselves as educators, how do we position ourselves and our students? What shift in our curriculum should we be preparing ourselves?
Absolutely.
Because I keep saying that what I knew 20 years ago is old information.
Not enough to keep you there.
It's not enough to keep us competitive.
No, at all.
And our mandate is to create a platform for economic development, which includes stable work environment, stable jobs, and a strong economic base from which the government gets its revenue to deliver the service. But I'm also saying, in order to do that, we've got to change our thinking. Our curriculum must keep in line with the strategies that EDA and other entities are engaged in. All of us knew about VINGN's initiative 2 years ago. We may not have known the depth of what it is. I had to learn a lot more about what is this thing all about. And as we learned about it, we started putting it in our marketing materials. And with the help of the team over at VINGN, we've positioned the information that is important to the IT sector and to the designated services, the financial services. Everyone is asking for this information. So my appeal to my community is this. I'm asking all of us to really start using our imagination, understand what is happening in our community. Educators, we have to shift our curriculum so that our children, by the year 2020, can benefit from these initiatives. We want them to be not only just the employees, but the employers too.
Be the job creators.
We want our people to be job creators. We want them to be the employers. We know that not everyone will be an employer. Some will have to be the workers and employee, but we want it to be of such that the shift that is occurring, that our education system is keeping up with the shift. Our workforce development efforts must keep up with the demands of the marketplace. Our children are challenging us, and you know they're challenging us in many ways. Some of our children are far more advanced in the use of technology than the very teachers that are teaching them. And it may be intimidating at times to some folks, but I will tell you that it is our responsibility to make the shift with our children in this workforce. And so our work in the Economic Development Authority is a big work. We know that. And it's a challenging work. And as we try to get it right and fix some of the issues that have plagued a lot of agencies, we also simultaneously can't afford to slow down as we're fixing, because we've got to get the word out to the world that the Virgin Islands is positioned to be a good place to grow your business, to expand on your business, as those who come to invest in our community also concerns themselves with this human resource potential that we have, that we're preparing and ready in. So our job is one of a short-term and a long-term goal strategy, because as we do the immediate things to put our people to work, we also have to think about those students who are graduating and whether or not 2020 is a year that the Virgin Islands truly become the world-class place to do business.
It's interesting you say that, and then of course, obviously, we will continue this conversation.
Yes.
Because there's so much to this opportunity that we need to talk about. But let me just conclude by saying that 2013 is the genesis. It will hallmark that beginning of all that we envision that we can be. Would we agree on that?
I think you're right.
And so we collectively as a community have to be of that one mind, that one thinking, because we understand that the world as we know it has changed, and we must change our thinking and our strategy as to how we put ourselves as a commodity, because the business of economics is an art, it's a science, and we have to have something that everybody wants, and we need to figure that out. Once we figure that out, watch out world, we'll be ready.
Watch out, world.
That's right. All right.
So
Andrew, I want to
thank
thank you. I
you.
want to thank you for the time that you spent, and forward to
Great to
your
see
next
you
visit. But let me. We have 15 minutes, and I would be remiss. We would be remiss if we didn't at least start at least make some comment, and then later on plan for future shows to address the Inspector General faults the EDA loans. According to the headline, $1.8 million in secured loans, actually unsecured, 8.5 million or 84.5% of the 2010 loans delinquent. $72,000, $824, no bid contract improperly entered into, and mandated government reports not filed. Before you guys arrived, I just kind of sort of real quickly touched on with this CEO. I have a half a dozen so questions that lends to this discussion, and we're not going to be able to discuss everything because we have 15 minutes left, but let me just give you an idea. Point number one, why was the IG audit done? Why was it necessary? Who initiated the IG audit?
Well, I'm extremely happy that you asked. I joined the EDA in October 2007. And upon my joining them, I requested an audit of the EDA.
You did.
I did.
Okay. That's important.
Yes. I think that's very important because after a couple of months, I saw the need to get to the bottom of some processes and systems, and of course the delinquency popped its ugly head. And
as a banker, you saw that and said, no, this doesn't make any sense.
So I called the IG's office and said, listen, I need an audit, and confirmed it in writing. They have fortunately just finished the audit, and I am happy to have had the results, contrary to what some people may think. The purpose of an audit is to give you an idea of the
state
things,
of affairs.
the state of affairs, the things that can be improved based on the recommendations of the audit. Now, I want to point out at this point that the Inspector General's audit found 15 exceptions, of which 13 have been already resolved.
That's right.
There are 2 unresolved, and one of the 2 is a work in process, and that is reporting our delinquency to the credit unions. And I expect within the next 60 days for it to be completed. And it has taken a little while because you have to get into negotiations and agreements with these
Credit agencies.
yes,
Credit bureaus, yeah.
with the credit bureaus. So within the next 60 days, it's going to be rolling. It's going to have a positive effect on our delinquency. And I see us reducing that number of 84%, that I actually think is about 71%, but it's going to be reduced from that single initiative.
Could you speak, Mr. CEO, to why we are approaching the credit bureaus and explain to our community the importance of this in getting them into our agency to fix the problem of the loans that they have not been paying back?
To say we have a collection problem is an understatement, isn't it?
Oh,
Yes, it is.
And it's because of the attitude and the culture and the thinking that goes in, because you're a government entity.
Yes.
Therefore, there's no real sense of obligation to repay the money. Is that part of the situation?
Yes, it's unfortunate that some of our people, our borrowers, think that these are grants. Some borrowers have taken loans and have not paid anything. So the thinking is that it's a grant. It's a government agency, so I don't have to pay it back. They have the mentality of an entitlement. But
it changes now.
we are going to change that. One, we have tightened a little on our standards, and therefore we are granting better loans than in the past. Incidentally, it's important to note that 50% of the portfolio belongs to the SBDA program. And that SBDA program goes way back to 1972.
Wow.
So we have loans.
Wow, that
Yes,
far, huh? Wow.
yes. And we are now, we have been taking measures in terms of collection agencies, attorneys going to small claims court, going to superior court on those that are over the small claims level of 10,000. And we have been pursuing that. And we will continue to do that. We have also embarked on amnesties in an effort to encourage payment. So we said, we'll forgive you your interest, late fees and penalties if you pay us the principal. And we did that on 2 separate occasions, each 6-month intervals.
So you're going to provide some incentive,
Yes.
at least to be able to say,
We
listen,
did.
we understand,
We did.
we're sensitive
Yes.
to the situation.
Yes, we did those
And
things already.
we want to meet you part of the way to
Yes.
say, okay, let's resolve this.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. As you know, as a former banker, I'm looking forward to being able to dive into this because obviously your ability to collect these loans has to do with your ability to continue to fund future loans.
Absolutely.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay? You can't. You
So-
cannot provide capital or funds if you don't replenish
Right.
what your bottom line balance would be in order to
Exactly.
continue providing the service.
And our past entrepreneurs and business people that are not paying, are doing our current applicants and
injustice.
future entrepreneurs an injustice.
An injustice. It
Yes.
is an injustice. And I've said to a number of folks who have asked, about the articles that came out in the paper and the report in general. And what I've said, to some of those folks who have asked, and the outcry about, my God, look at what has happened. Mr. Clouden said something to the team about this Inspector General audit that he asked for, that the purpose behind it was for us to find out how badly we were doing. We had an idea about the collections, but also an important part of what he mentioned earlier is the systemic processes that we needed to get better at. But also, how do we tell our community that what has occurred, and it didn't happen the last year or 2 years, so I know some folks says, oh, well, the economy is bad. We're talking about when the economy was robust.
Yeah.
And
Precisely.
there
They
is
were
this perception
delinquent,
that they didn't have to pay back the loans. And so Mr. Clouden's position to the team is that we're going to stop this
Yeah, you have
because it is an injustice to those young entrepreneurs who now can't get a loan to do just what we said we want them to do, create jobs, make the small businesses part of this economy stronger, because those who borrowed the loans have refused to pay back the loan. Well, the word is out. The word is out. Your information is now going to be placed to the credit bureaus. It is going to affect you in ways that we have a fiduciary responsibility to the people of the Virgin Islands and to the funding source, because some of our funding comes from the U.S. government. These are monies that we're going after from Treasury and from U.S. Department of Commerce in a revolving fund loan. So the word is out. The audit has given us a mandate that, yes, you have a problem. You now need to fix it. And I know that there are honest people who did have issues with their business failures. We're asking you to come in and see us. But we have no choice. Mr. Clouden has signed on to a fiduciary responsibility. The board has indicated it is no ifs, ands, or buts. We have got to collect the monies owed to the people of the Virgin Islands so we can turn it around back into our revolving small business loans. And I am saying to this community that all those who are going to be critical of this new way, it's okay to be critical. We will accept your criticism. But at the end of the day, it's about how do we fix this systemic problem. I've heard that there was one person that was very loud and bold on the radio shows that say, well, it's a grant. Well, I want to correct that misconception. It is not a grant. You are given a loan to pay back. Mr. Clouden is the head of the bank at EDA. He is determined to collect the money so that we can honestly tell the people of the Virgin Islands we have done our best in ensuring that the taxes you paid is now used for the purpose intended. Please come in and let's fix this problem. You fail to do so, we will see you in court. We will release the names to the public.
Yeah.
We will publish it. We don't want to do that because this is our small community, and some of our partners, as I've always said to people, we live in a small community and we're all related some shape or form. That is irrelevant to us. We have a legal obligation to fix this problem, collect the people's money, and turn it into other opportunities for other people. We can do this. I'm asking you to come in and do it. So the audit, the Inspector General audit report, when we got it, in fact, we fixed, as Mr. Clouden said, 15 of the 17 issues, 13 of the 15.
Excellent.
We intend to fix it all.
All.
But we are asking this community to do the thing that is honorable and right. It's like you borrow some of my money, I told you it was a loan. You lend it to me, I lend it to you, pay me back. That's just, I think, good business sense.
And the irony in this whole process,
Yes.
the sad commentary is that the pure primary reason why the Government Development Bank exists is to be that alternative.
Yes.
Because you found it necessary to be another source that were a little more liberal and forgiving and lenient in terms of your underwriting policies,
Yes.
to make credit and funding available.
Available to entrepreneurs.
Exactly.
That the existing banks shy away from doing startups.
Right.
Can you imagine there is no availability of funding for a startup, for your idea?
Exactly.
You know, that will cripple this economy.
Yes.
And so in the best interest of preserving this program for the general community is that you're going to have to look at changing the way you underwrite, if you will, for the purpose of protecting future applicants who will need to borrow money in the future.
We are also doing that.
Unfortunately,
Yes.
that's the reality.
Yes.
We have to tighten up the process now, and it makes it somewhat more challenging. But you know what? If you borrow my money, Mr. Weeks, and I loan it to you, and I said, Tony, you've got 6 months to pay me back. It is my expectation that you're going to do that in 6 months. If for whatever reason along the way something shifts and the 6 months won't materialize itself, you should come to me and said, you know what, I can't do it in 6 months, but maybe if you help me with this, so and so and so. That's the way we should be operating. And I think that is the mandate that we're moving towards under the GDB and
Yes.
SBDA.
We are flexible in granting principal moratoriums, restructurings,
Right.
recasting the debt, so that it becomes more manageable, because sometimes your projections do not materialize, as Ms. Hill said. But we are flexible enough to accommodate any change in the original structure.
Okay. To be continued. To be continued.
Yes, certainly.
As we close out, I want to say thank you for spending some time and to share with us your recent trip to Denmark, and look forward to the future progress of those developments as well, and an opportunity to get into looking at the processes and procedures and how we can improve the system to make the program and make the organization more viable within the community to provide the services. This has been another edition of EDA Focus in Marketplace. I'm Anthony Weeks, your host. Let me invite you and let you know, say that if you are looking for a new job, if you're looking to train for a new career, new profession, or if you're looking to start up a business, tonight we invite you to come to the Pier 69, where SETI, the St. Croix Economic Development Initiative, is holding the business forum, and it starts at 5:30. Come on down and be part of the opportunities as well. Good night.